name is Carmella Livingston, and I will be telling you about the American involvement in World War I, helped to shape modern America. When the country was divided and damaged by a brutal civil war in the mid-19th century, an American superpower looked improbable. While American involvement in World War I helped to turn the tide in favor of the Allies, it also gave shape to modern America's role in the world and resulted in dramatic changes at home in race relations and women's rights. Giant enterprises, transportation and communication networks, the growth of heavy industries, banking, and financial institutions were all elements that emerged in the late 1800s. As the economy of the United States increased, Americans strived to extend their country. This expansion was primarily focused on gaining control of the North American continent. During the war, American loans towards the Allies were worth $7 billion. Between 1917 and by the end of the war, it maintained the same by shipping goods of the Atlantic. The start of World War I happened in the summer of 1914 in Europe on July 28th. Woodrow Wilson was the president at the time. The U.S. Navy was the second largest in the world when the U.S. entered on April 6, 1917, America declared war on Germany, and the war had begun. Countries built military forces, arms, and battleships. The main goal was a peace settlement and ending the conflict. Then, over 30 nations declared war, and countries felt they had to meet each other's needs. The children started to work by knitting socks and making bandages. Millions of women started working at home, replacing the men that went to war. The immigrants would be punished until they could prove their loyalty to America. It was difficult to keep countries together, and paying for essentials got harder. The soldiers who fought lived in trenches. Then, to add on, a pandemic started while in the war. The influenza pandemic, known as the flu, was one of the deadliest pandemics in the world. It killed about 50 million people. The flu's impact on World War I has made it into history. The war made the flu spread quicker. In the late 1918, the second wave of the flu came along. It caused Germany to stop fighting and influenced the Central Powers to end the battle and form an agreement. That was not the only thing that could form peace. The treaty after the war, and it started in 1919, accelerated income tax and urbanization and helped the U.S. within its economy and military powers. The war ended on November 11, 1918, and the war finished when Germany signed the armistice. The Allies eventually won World War I. Since the war, it made America's military power strengthen. More than 4 million Americans have served in the armed forces, and 116,708 had lost their lives. Until the end of 1916, the pursuit of peace was confined to individuals and to small groups. While American engagement in World War I aided the Allies in winning the war, it also shaped contemporary America's place in the world and resulted in significant changes in race relations and women's rights at home. The celebration of victory quickly ended, and it turned into a depressing period. World War I helped advance the medications, and it also made peace terms between the Allies and Germany. There is now a Remembrance Day on November 11th every year.